Hey, MBC family, this is Bishop Roberts. I hope that your week is going well. I know that this is a busy week or so for a number of you because children are starting to go back to school. I was looking at social media this morning and I see some of you already, your kids have already gone back to school. My kids go back next week. So, kids, I hope that you have a great beginning of the school year. I know that you're excited for that. Parents, I know that you're also excited for the kiddos to get back into the classroom. Well, I want to briefly recap this past week's message. We've been in a series called Our Faith Jesus. We're looking at who Jesus is for us as individuals and who Jesus is for us as a church family. This week, we began to look at what it means for Jesus to be our Spirit-Baptizer. And the main idea from this past week's message is simply this, that God immerses our whole lives in His Spirit through our new life in Jesus Christ. When we follow Jesus and we experience being reborn, we experience Jesus as our Savior, the one who takes us from darkness and brings us into light. And we experience Jesus as our sanctifier, the one who sets us apart from sin and the destructive ways that we find ourselves in before we meet Jesus. God also gives us His Spirit and makes us alive in a whole new way. So there are three takeaways from that main idea. The first thing is that because God's Spirit is in us and on us as believers, our lives are now shaped by life in God rather than death in sin. So everything that we do, whether it be our work, school, how we are at home, whatever we do, when we begin to follow Jesus, everything that we are is shaped by God and God's purposes rather than being shaped by sin and the different purposes that sin might have for our lives. The second thing that's important for us to understand is that when we become followers of Jesus, we begin to move in God's power rather than our own weakness. The Bible is pretty clear that without God, there's not a ton of things that we can do. We can only go so far in life. But when we become believers, we are moving in God's power, which means God's Spirit is what makes us alive. God's Spirit is what gives us our motivation for living every day. So as believers, we're made alive in God's Spirit and we move in God's power in every part of our lives. But finally this, and this is, I think, really, really important, especially for us new beginnings as we are in this new season as a church family. God's Spirit does something for us as a community. You see, when we experience salvation and we experience rebirth in Jesus Christ, God's Spirit draws us into community rather than disunity. When we have God's Spirit in us, we're drawn into community with other people rather than living in disunity. Now, it doesn't take us long to turn on the TV and see that there's a lot of disunity in the world. And there's a lot of things we've tried to fix the disunity and the division that we experience in our world. But I'm here to say this. The thing that I do know can fix the disunity in our world is God's Spirit. When we're people of the Spirit, we are people of community. So we're going to continue looking at what it means for Jesus to be our Spirit baptizer this next week. I'm really excited about this message because we're going to really dig into what that means for the church family. So please come out to Sunday service. As always, it'll be on Sunday at 10:30 a.m. on South 6th Avenue in Wabash in Bartow, Florida. Also want to remind everyone, we will have a 20-minute congregational meeting directly after service. And this week's service is First Sunday, so we'll be taking communion. We'll be having live worship. Our musician will be with us, so please come on out. But I really want to stress, please make sure that you come out to that congregational meeting. We're going to be talking about what things are going to look like over the next few months. And then we're also going to talk about our process for putting together a new ministry plan for our church and what that's going to look like. I'm really excited for us to work together on this ministry plan. It will give us a new vision, our mission. It will clarify our values and our goals and where things are headed. So we will be working on that ministry plan over the next several months, and we're going to be relaunching that new ministry plan in January 2023. So I'm really excited about that. But as always, we are praying for you. We look forward to seeing you on Sunday. Be blessed and have a Spirit-empowered week. We'll see you soon.